Righty. Hey, gang. Good morning, and thank you for joining us. Again, I'm Sandy McDonald. I'm the Director of the Office of Economic and Small Business Development here in Broward County, and thank you for joining us for our MAP Broward Mobility Advancement Program, Driving Business Forward. This is a workshop that hopefully will advantage you if you are one of our certified small businesses. If you happen to be a small business in Broward and you're not certified, if you happen to be outside the state and you've been thinking and hearing about the wonderful things going on in Broward, this workshop will tell you more about specific projects in our cities, city of Fort Lauderdale, Miramar, Southwest Ranches, and Tamarack are all going to have representatives today to talk to you about their MAP Broward projects. And also our office is going to share a little bit more with you about projects that the county is putting on the street. So again, I'm going to take you through a series of slides just to familiarize you a little bit more with our office, because I do know based on pre-registration, there's also a group of individuals on the call today who are not certified. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time, but I'm going to make sure you know where to go to get certified, because we definitely want to get to the point where you can hear from our four cities, learn more about their projects, learn more about their process so that you can participate in these MAP Broward opportunities. So again, I'm the director, Sandy McDonald. Savika is my support staff in terms of MAP, in terms of coordinating these outreach events. So I thank her for doing so. Next slide. And this is our office real quick. Office of Economic Small Business Development. We, of course, are small business focused. We do work with the 31 cities and the 16 plus chambers. We do try to provide support on the economic development side as well. That's why we are the Office of Economic and Small Business Development. But the thing I like with this slide, I want you to know, we're service delivery. And one way that's important for you as a small business to know we're service delivery, the county procures a whole bunch. In addition to MAP, which you may know as Surtax or originally called penny tax. We buy a lot just as a county. We don't buy everything, but we buy a lot. We're a service agency because any good material, service, or product that any county agency looks to buy, we have a chance to take a look at it to establish a small business goal to assure, based on the ordinance, Business Opportunity Act, that at least 25% of what the county buys, we want to buy from certified small businesses. So again, you want to know about our program in addition to MAP, while we're here today, just in general, getting certified with Broward affords you additional opportunities. Next slide. Most businesses in Broward are small. These are real numbers. SBA, Small Business Administration, they look at small businesses 1 to 500 employees. But if you're in Broward, you need to understand why the county has that Business Opportunity Act ordinance, why we really try to make sure at least 25% of what we procure, we buy it with small businesses in Broward. That's because 89% of the businesses in Broward have 20 employees or less. So we are truly a small business community, which why it would make sense that some of the items we procure, if the price is right, if the quality of the work is right, if the timing of the work is right, and it's a competitive process, no freebies, a genuine competitive process, it makes sense for the county to make sure that some of the things we buy from businesses already in Broward. Why? They're already in Broward. They pay taxes in Broward. They hire folks from Broward. The folks they pay these salaries to, these employees, some live in Broward. They shop in Broward. The ways in which to keep the dollars flowing in the community. Again, we buy a lot. We don't buy everything, nor do we claim everything we buy only from Broward businesses. We buy throughout the country. But because we know the economic impact and the opportunity, we try to make sure some of what we competitively buy, and I always have to throw that out, folks, we don't reserve and set aside just for the sake of reserving and set aside. It will always be a competitive process. But some of what we buy competitively, it just makes sense to spend money with businesses in your community, especially when they can give you the same price same quality, same timelines. Next slide. This is what I currently look like. CBE, County Business Enterprise, 945 certified firms. My SBE, Small Business Enterprise, 719 firms. DBE, Disadvantaged Business Enterprise, 406 firms. ACDBE, Airport Concessions Disadvantaged Business Enterprise, 161 firms. And again, that DBE and ACDBE, we administered that federal program, 49 CFR, 49 Code of Federal Regulations. That's whatever money is being spent by the United States Department of Transportation. We have to use their program to assure that minority and women-owned businesses who are also socially and economically disadvantaged have an opportunity. So we administer that federal program. But for Broward County's local program, we're CBE and SBE, and the reason we show these paint cans, for all the work that we do, we could certainly add more paint. We need more certified small businesses. So if you think about it one day, get certified or check with us, see our videos, use our workshops to determine if not only if you're eligible, but if interested, we want to help you through that process. Next slide. Understanding the 3 Ps, program, process, and people. This is just as important as we talk to the 4 cities today, and they describe their upcoming projects relevant to MAP, again, Mobility Advancement Program, which many of you know as Surtax, that opportunity to spend money for transportation operations, transportation services, infrastructure throughout the county, including the 31 cities. That's what you're going to hear about today, and the future of rail. But what I need to always make sure all small businesses understand, know the program. In reference to me and my CBE and SBE, know the program. And in reference to what you're going to hear from these 4 cities, understand their program. Know the process, how to navigate creating opportunities, how to get registered as a vendor, how to find information out about bids, how to get advanced information on potential bids, and how to understand how to bid better. Process and people. Understand in a procurement process, there are some people you can talk to, some you can't. Understand in a procurement process with the county, we afford you opportunities through meet and greets to meet some of the potential primes who at the end of the day, based on our program, will need small businesses. We try to make sure as an Office of Economic and Small Business Development, when we're working with our small businesses, we educate them to the program. What's the county's commitment to CBE and SBE? How do I get certified as a CBE and an SBE? How does it advantage me, if eligible, by being a CBE and an SBE? How do I navigate the procurement process? How do I find out about bids? How do I get hot tips and information prior to a bid? How do I reconcile when losing a bid? Some of the things that I might need to do differently or better, and understanding the different people we can introduce you to, we can make available to you that will help you with the process and the program, whereas you as a vendor, as a small business, have a better opportunity to compete for county procurement. So we even do a workshop. I do a workshop called Certified Now What? That dives into the program process and the people, because I just don't want you to get certified and sit and wait to see if you win a bid. I want you to get certified and understand the process, how to engage the process to make your chances of winning a bid better. So understanding the 3 Ps is also something we want to make sure all small businesses understand. Next slide. Local certification programs, I have 2. I got SBE and I got CBE. Again, this too is on our website. SBE is really the Small Business Enterprise Program. We share along with the SBA the same personal net worth. That's right. There's a criteria to get certified as one of my SBEs. As you read that chart, 1.32 million or less is your personal net worth. We don't count against you your primary residence, but all of your other revenues creates your personal net worth. You have to have a personal net worth of 1.32 or less. Approximately 15 employees or less. The other upside to the SBE side, when we look at your average gross receipts, is $3 million for construction on an average of 3 years or less, is $1 million contractual services on an average of 3 years or less, and it's $500,000 on professional consultants over an average of 3 years or less. If you graduate out of those criteria, you end up in our CBE program, or some when you initially get certified. You get certified in our CBE program. And again, personal net worth for eligibility is the same. Your personal net worth needs to be 1.32 or less, not counting your primary residence. These are generally businesses with 25 employees or less. You always, for both programs, have to demonstrate you have an operating presence in Broward for at least 1 year. That's a requirement. You got to be here operating at least 1 year. Nope, you don't have to be breaking the bank. You don't have to have 20 contracts, but we have to make sure we're working with the business that's at least committed to Broward County. And you got to be here at least 1 year. And on the revenue side, if you are a construction-related business, you have to average $9 million or less over 3 years. And for the remaining of my industries, you average $5 million or less over a period of 3 years. And if you meet those criteria and those eligibilities, you can be certified as a SBE or CBE. And yes, we'll tell you in a different workshop, some vendors are certified as both SBE and CBE. Next slide. Vendor registration is key. I just told you about our program and getting certified. Before you ever get certified with me, if you want to do business with Broward County, you must first be a registered vendor. Certification or not, you must be a registered vendor. A registered vendor is also the only person who can find out through the bid platform what the county is bidding, what we're putting on the street, what we're looking to procure. So this is the site you would go to, formerly known as BidSync, now called Periscope S2G, and you would register for free. For free, folks, so let's be clear. Old BidSync, which is now Periscope S2G, they will charge you money if you want to know about bids in California, Michigan, Texas, and other locations. If you just want to be informed about Broward County government's procurement, you can register on that site for free. So again, no matter what your interest is in getting certified with me as a small business, in order to do any business with Broward County government, you must first register to be a vendor. So definitely do that. And then after you do that, feel free to contact my office to learn more about our certification and our small business program. And then if you believe you're eligible and it's something you have interest in, we would walk you through the process. But as soon as you get off this call today, if you choose, you can register to be a Broward County vendor. That way, whatever your good material or service is, whatever your North American industry code is, whatever your procurement code is, you won't miss that bid, certified or not. Once you're a registered vendor, you would get our bids. Next slide. Here we are, Mobility Advancement Program. In short, and we've been talking about this now for 2 years. The vote happened in 2018. We started talking in 2019. And the portion that's important for today is that the commission and the oversight board for MAP decided for eligible projects. The county is looking at about 355, 370 million a year based on who you ask and collecting on this penny tax. And for eligible projects, they have decided that we want to do a 30% goal. It's at least a 30% goal. Some goals may be lower, but we start with working with the county agencies and the cities at 30% on eligible projects. When we looked at 355 million a year, but we know we can't put a goal on everything. And I always remind folks, they say, why not, Mr. McDonald? Well, remember this penny tax, which we call MAP. The money can only be used for 30 years for transportation operation, transportation services, infrastructure throughout the county and the 31 cities, and the future of rail. So that's what the money can be used for. So that means Chris Walton, the director of transit, is buying more electrical buses. He already has a fleet. He's buying more electrical buses. So that's an eligible use. But is that an eligible opportunity for a small business? U.S. Department of Transportation has a list of the manufacturers of buses. U.S. Department of Transportation has a list of those who can sell these approved buses. We know small businesses don't manufacture the bus. We know small businesses can't sell the bus. So when Chris Walton buys 10 buses, I can't set a goal. So we took a look at that. And conservatively, we all decided for eligible projects going forward, especially including our cities and the projects you'll hear about today, we decided it makes sense. Take 355, cut it in half. We're comfortable saying that off of about $177 million a year, a 30% goal is about $53 million a year. And we're hoping to spend about $53 million a year with small businesses through the city contracts and the county contracts over a 30-year period. And guys and girls, we have 28 more years to go. That's what this is about. We want to start telling you about the specific projects that are rolling out in the cities so you can start doing the devil in the detail, doing your homework, familiarizing yourself with the city's procurement platform, making sure you understand where to find their bids, make sure you understand how to engage their process. We need you to know this because this is going to continue, guys, for the next 28 years. This was a 30-year process. Next slide. So we are always trying to get you ahead of the curve. So in short, 30% on eligible projects, that's about $53 million a year for small business activity. Over a 30-year period, that's the short side of about $1.7 billion that we can potentially spend with small businesses right here in Broward County. So if you're not certified and the type of things you hear about today, if they happen to be in your industry, but they have to be aligned with what you currently do, then remember, you get to get certified with us for free. You get to learn the procurement process in the cities as well. You get to determine if you want to bid on not only the city your business is in, any of the other cities who are also going to touch this MAP funds. But once you're certified, let's be crystal clear. Once you're certified as a small business with Broward, and you can only participate in MAP funded projects with the cities if you are a certified small business in terms of taking advantage of what we just described. So what's the advantage of really getting certified? The advantage of really getting certified is to understand, well, if I got certified with the county, that means if I'm sitting here in Fort Lauderdale, they're one of our presenters today, I'm eligible to be considered a small business on the Fort Lauderdale Mobility Advancement Program projects. But because I got certified, I'm not only eligible for Fort Lauderdale, I'm eligible for any of those other cities who put a MAP or a Surtex project on the street. I'm not only eligible for Fort Lauderdale and any of those other cities, I'm also eligible as a small business for the county's MAP and Surtax projects. But I'm not only eligible for the city of Fort Lauderdale, all the other cities' Surtex projects, and the county's Surtex project. If I got certified, I'm also eligible for Broward County's procurement in general, Surtax or not. So the advantage to a small business who might decide based on his or her industry and interest of getting certified is, yes, you get to participate in procurement as a small business towards that 30% goal where prime contractors must use you or someone like you in your city, in other cities, with the county, and county projects that's not Surtex. So that's what this current municipality chart is. This is showing you the existing municipalities and the number of projects we've already reviewed. We're not saying all of them are on the street as a bid yet. They're not, but you at least know, and that's what I mean about tips, in advance. You now know on the record, my office, my staff have worked with each of these cities and reviewed each of these projects. Some cities got multiple projects, and as of this day, we even have a recommended goal for those projects. Now, the cities will do the rest of their due diligence. They're going to make sure they're ready for the project. They're going to make sure that they're ready with their matching funds or however they're going to fund it along with the MAP dollars. They're going to make sure that they submit that information to the MAP administration. They already have, the cities have already signed their interlocal agreement saying that they'll follow all the rules. So these projects, guys and girls, will be hitting the street pretty soon, which is why you got 4 presenters today telling you about their projects. that are getting ready to hit the street, or some may be ready to hit like tomorrow, or some may have even hit as of yesterday. The point is, we have this information that we want to share. Some of our small business highlights we want to make sure you're aware of, like right now, 47 projects on the county side, totaling over $279 million worth of activity. The average goal is 31% based on a review and what we put out there on those projects. For the municipal projects that we reviewed, we have reviewed to date 87 projects from our cities, totaling over $117 million in activity. That average goal is about 33% on those projects. That's $85 million total CBE project projected amounts. So if all those projects eventually hit the street with the goals that we have assigned, and the county and the city start working on those projects, the commitment will be at that time, $85 million worth of activity for small businesses. That's why we want you to be engaged in this process. And understand, even if you're not certified yet today, even if you're not a business yet in Broward today, if this sounds like you and it took you a year to 2 years to get ready, you still would have 26 or 27 years to competitively compete for these opportunities. Next slide. County Business Enterprise awarded projects to date. We just want to let you know the different type of industries right now based on projects reviewed and awarded. Asphalt, concrete, of course, construction, engineering, cost estimating, electrical, document preparation services. We're not saying these are the only, but when we look at the projects that have crossed our desk, these are the different industries that we're currently establishing these goals on based on these projects. Next slide. Get in the game. Certified CBE firms on MAP projects as of today. Broward is winning. Guys and girls, these are firms who are certified with us based on county projects, and we've only had a few cities out so far, but the cities are getting ready to ramp up. But these are the firms who are already in the game on MAP projects that we used to call Surtax, that we started off calling penny tax. We now call it MAP. These are the firms. Some of you might be on this call. Some of you might know these firms. These are the firms who have already won contracts dealing with MAP, Surtax. Next slide. And here's something that's key. You heard me say that we're about setting the goal at 30%. Some will be lower, some will be a little higher. We're really trying to do it realistically. Ready, willing, and able. Do I have firms who can actually fit the need of what's being recommended by the county agencies or the cities? But what I told my CBEs a year ago, $2 million, $3 million project. I just don't want you trying to find out who the prime might be and be a part of his 10, 20, or 30% goal. Every now and then, if it fits your wheelhouse, I want my CBEs to bid as a prime. If the goal is 30% on a $3 million contract and you can fulfill your portion, but you can manage the entire project, why not bid as the prime and win the entire project? Just want to give you an example or two of a couple of our firms who not only went after it as subs, they bid as primes and they won. So again, if it's within your capacity, if it's within your scalability, if it's something you can do, by all means, as a contractor, as a small business, go after the contract as a prime. You still can fulfill the small business portion and still oversee the rest of the activity. Just wanted to give you a couple examples of firms who are CBEs who didn't go in the game trying to get that 20 or 30 or 40% CBE subcontracting opportunity. They went in the game as the prime. Just wanted to show you that. Next slide. So here's some of the project and the project updates from our highway construction and engineering division. These are the type of project types, funding types and sorts, descriptions of projects. I wanted to show you this because this is something that the county is also continuously doing. We're using our website for Surtex, for MAP, Mobility Advancement Program, to always make sure you are aware of the type of projects we're doing as we're preparing to do the reviews before the projects even go out for bid. Now, we're clear in what we say. We recognize that the bid portal, the official bid document, is 100% what you need to be reading to respond to a bid. But let's be clear. When I get a project from the city, or when I get a project from the county, when my staff is reviewing it and recommending a goal, that's the first opportunity we have to share that the potential of a future project on the horizon is X. We don't promise that it will come. We don't say the specific date of it, but we recognize for small businesses, we need to put you in a position to get as much information as possible. So when the bid does come, you're ready to submit a competitive bid. We also have our user agencies similar to the cities who are coming to present today to constantly tell us about the projects, what phase they're in, when they're on the street, who our contractors are, who our CBEs are, because sometimes this information helps you also for future bids. You can begin to identify which prime contractors are winning county contracts, so you can begin to at least familiarize and introduce yourself to those primes for maybe future bids. So we too try to keep track of county projects as they go out for bid, once they go out for bid, once it's actually awarded, and we actually do monthly utilizations to make sure everyone reports in. So this is just to remind you, on behalf of Highway Construction and Engineering Division, some of the RFPs and the bids for fiscal year 22, I don't want you to miss that. This is them telling us now, hey, Sandy, here's some of the projects we know we're going to do next year. You can start sharing some of this with your businesses. That's the importance. You're going to hear today from 4 cities who are going to tell you about some of their projects that they might be putting out for procurement next week, next month, or within the next 60 or 90 days. Next slide. Where do I start? Because I know we just talked about a whole bunch. I think your best starting point, if you're interested in taking advantage of being a certified small business to participate with one of these 4 cities or any of my other cities, or with county projects relevant to Surtax, relevant to MAP, I think you start with making sure that you are a registered vendor in Broward system. You get more familiar with being a registered vendor in the city you're interested in. But let's bring in this common denominator. In order to participate in Surtax and MAP as a certified small business, buzzword, certified, you must be certified with my office. Where do I start? If you're not certified, you need to get certified. Where do I start? If I am certified, I need to start determining which of these cities I'm interested in and or county I'm interested in and start trailing those projects. If you're certified and you're trailing those projects, I need to start by making sure I familiarize myself in those cities as well as those counties with those prime contractors. And yes, I want to read as much as I can about a bid or a potential bid before it ever hits the street. Where do I start depends on who you are and your status. So take that slide, and if you need, you email and or call our office directly, and based on who you are and where you are, we'll tell you where you start. Next slide. And I think now I pass this over to Savika, who want to walk you through why we're here today and explain more about the division in my office that brought us here today, Community Relations and Outreach. Savika, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Sandy. First, I do want to remind our audience today that you are going to receive a copy of this presentation. So I know we got that question a lot. You're going to get the presentation links. You're going to get the slides and a link to the recording as well. So in the meantime, you just have to worry about paying attention today. You can submit your questions in the Q&A section of our event. So just hit out that Q&A button. But I did want to just spend a little time, and we're going to jump right into our city and our municipal presentation, is the Community Relations and Outreach team. Exactly what Sandy said, we're here for you. From the technical assistance, we're going to provide some more information on what that is, what that means. But it's everything from how do I bid, how do I register to be a vendor, and what opportunities are there for me in Broward County? Why should I move my business here? Why should I open a business here? Everything under the sun. It really is just reach out to us and we can help you with that. That's why we put on these workshops and meet and greets just like today. So you can put faces to the names and actually connect with us. I will speak some more about our team, but I do want to make sure we have time for our presentations today. A reminder for the MAP Broward projects, you have to be a certified county business enterprise so that you can participate and you can be part of that goal on these projects. So first up, we do have the city of Fort Lauderdale. I want to thank Gail and Glenn for joining us today. And Gail, I'm going to throw it over to you.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Talking to you out of the Everglades. So just kidding. Anyways, I'm from the city of Fort Lauderdale and I'm the Grants and Special Projects Coordinator. Surtax is relatively new to me. I'm here a year and a half, but I've been with the city of Fort Lauderdale for 14 years. And with me today, I have Glenn Marcos, who is the Assistant Finance Director, as well as our new procurement manager. I think it's been less than a month since he's been with us, but he's not new to procurement. So he will also be talking to you at the end of my presentation. The city's projects have been divided as all of the Surtax projects. There is the capital projects, as well as the repair and maintenance projects. And the city of Fort Lauderdale, as you would have seen in Sandy's slide earlier, included 7 projects of which we qualified for Surtax dollars. And I will share those for you. We have 3 capital projects and we have 4 repair projects. Now, the one that I'm presenting to you here first is the South Ocean Bridge. That is a repair and maintenance project, and it's the replacement of the South Ocean Drive Bridge. This one is the one that, it's our first one that we're actually going to be posting. The bid package is presently being wrapped up, and it will be on the streets sometime in October. So this is the one to keep your eyes out for in the very near future. As you can see, the type of services we'll be looking for this, it's listed under construction services. If you have any questions in regards to any of the projects, I can definitely, if it's technical, we can definitely get back to the project managers and respond to you. But for now, this is just to give you an idea. The CBE goal is 30%. So 30% of the project funds will go towards the project, unless, of course, other changes happen, it could increase, or, if the project comes in less, depending on what the bids turn out to be, it would be 30% of the project estimate. Next slide, please. This project is listed as a capital project, and there will be, this one is also one that will be moving ahead quickly, that we would, the rest of them, we have 3 projects right now waiting to be funded and approved for funding, I should say. And then once that is, completed, then we would be having some more projects on the street. So this one is one of the next ones that's going to be coming up. It's the 15th Avenue Mobility. And it will be to improve the 15th Avenue from Sunrise Boulevard to Mills Pond Park, which is on 9th. We'll be adding crosswalks, ADA improvements, and traffic calming. So keep an eye out for that one also. That one will be coming up in the near future. The next project, which is, Savika, would you? The one-way piers. Now, this project, as you would see, the TBE is to be determined. Initially, the project was less than what was required for a CBE participation, but I think we're going to be using more funds towards this project. It's now at $322,000. So we have to get an approval from the CBE department for what would be approved for CBE funding. So this one also is one coming up before the end of the year. This will be advertised, we're thinking around mid-November. So another one to keep your eye out for. This project has 2 phases. There's a planning and design phase, and then there'll be a construction phase. In the planning and design phase right now, we need traffic engineering, analysis, and planning. And of course, there's a public involvement aspect to it. Thank you. Next slide, please. The sidewalk program, this one is in to the county to get the agreement for funding. It's approved already. We just need to get the approval for the funding to get started on the project and execute agreements and that stuff. So this is also one that's going to be, and you see this one, there's 2 sidewalk programs going on. One is new construction and the other is repairs. So, I'm sure if you can do the construction, you might also be wanting to do the repairs. And of course, this is a great forum, as we discussed earlier, to keep in mind, to listen to what's coming up and what you might be interested in. And there's 2 aspects to this project. So, and 30% is the CBE goal on these projects. Next slide, please. Westlake Bridge, it's another bridge project still in the planning. So while we would be needing to do almost the same as we're doing for the Ocean Bridge, this one might be more looking towards January than immediately, but it's coming up in the next 4 months as well. So another one to keep your eyes out for. If you're thinking of the South Ocean Bridge, you might want to think of Westlake Bridge as well. Next slide, please, Savita. And I mentioned this one already, the sidewalk repairs. This is the repair side of the other project, which is the new sidewalks. So, and this has a 30% goal for the project cost. Next slide, please. And this should be the last one. This one has a higher goal of 40%. And I've been saying that they're all coming up in the near future, but we are trying to expedite the project so we can get them on the road. Some need a little extra planning and some can, we've already gotten to that through the planning phase. So we're ready to go. So I think that's my last slide. I'd like to turn you over now to Glenn, who is my manager. He's in procurement, as I mentioned earlier. Glenn.
Thank you so much, Gail. Appreciate it. So there's a lot of information that we're giving to all of you. I know that there's a lot that is being thrown at you all at once. Perhaps maybe information overload as you continue to see this presentation, not only from Broward County and the city of Fort Lauderdale, but other cities that have also joined us. You have heard from Gail about incredible opportunities here in the city of Fort Lauderdale on projects being funded by the county's penny surtax. Obviously, in her presentation, you have seen 7 solicitations are in the planning stages or drafting phase, totaling approximately $10.3 million of contracts to be soon awarded. In doing so, as Sandy had mentioned in his presentation, you really need to start learning about, the programs, the processes, and the people. And so with that being said, I cannot stress enough as far as what is the importance of understanding the differences as far as method of source selection or competitive bidding. What is the difference between a formal competitive sealed bid and a formal competitive sealed proposal or qualifications? These are the things that Sandy was mentioning about learning, the differences. Now, you're going to hear about each city's projects. And as far as what we do on bidding for these projects, we do have a lot of similarities, without a doubt. But we also have little quirks, and you're going to have to start learning the differences within each municipality. It is extremely important that you get to know the differences because of the fact that we might have some unique requirements on a per city or per municipality basis. With the city of Fort Lauderdale, we do have an online bidding platform. Sandy again had mentioned the fact that Broward County has BidSync, which is now known as Periscope S2G. Here in the city of Fort Lauderdale, we also have that same online bidding platform. I think within Broward County and amongst the municipalities, I think most of us either has that BidSync, Periscope S2G, or perhaps maybe DemandStar. There might be another one such as BidNet, but for the most part, the first two that I mentioned are used primarily by the municipalities within Broward County. Now, obviously, our website that you need to visit is https://fortlauderdale.gov departments/finance/procurement services. That's a lot to be to think about, but if you look at the slide before you, you do see the website address right on the top of the bar. So there you go. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Next slide, please. On this next slide, this is pretty much our website. And if you can see on the left-hand side, you do have different options and choices there. There is an option where we do have some information for vendors to review. And then right below that, we do have our vendor registration link. That's where you would go to click on, and it will take you straight to BidSync, now known as, again, Periscope S2G, where you can go ahead and register for to become a vendor for the city of Fort Lauderdale. And then you will receive notification once these projects are ready to be issued and received by each and every one of you being registered as a vendor with the city of Fort Lauderdale. A couple of things that I want to go ahead and mention, which is really important. And I have jotted some notes because this is extremely important as far as knowing your local procurement rules. You need to know what they are. You also need to know the processes, as Sandy mentioned. Know what is permitted communication. In certain agencies, you will find out that you have the cone of silence. The cone of silence requirements might be a little bit different depending on which city you are competing for contracts for. Know what we mean as far as responsiveness. Know what we mean as far as responsibility. These are extremely important. Know your local programs, whether it's Broward or the cities. Know the local preferences. Know the small business programs, the county small business programs. Please be reminded that even though we as cities are issuing our solicitations, we do have to follow the small business rules that is being set forth by the county. So the more that you understand that, the more you reach out to the county to understand the rules, the better you're going to be off. Thank you so much. That concludes my presentation.
Thank you so much for that, Glenn. With that, we're going to go right along to our next featured city, and that is going to be the city of Miramar. Leah, go right ahead.
Okay, good morning, everybody. Great to have you with us. Thank you, Sandy and Savika, for putting all of this together. I wanted to talk a little bit about the upcoming projects that Miramar has coming out. One is an active project in DemandStar. It's been posted already. But with that, we'll dive right in. So the first project that we have coming out, this one is currently active. This is the Pembroke Road expansion from Southwest 160th Avenue, which is Dykes Road, to US 27, and the Miramar Parkway extension from Southwest 192nd Terrace up north to Pembroke Road. This project is estimated costs of just under $6 million. It's a design phase project, and like I said, it has already been advertised. So we are in the cone of silence, But if you guys have any questions, if you're a design firm and looking to go after this project, if you have any questions, you can email Brenda Martin, who is our procurement officer. Her contact information will be at the end slide of this presentation. The estimated CVE goal is 30% for this project, and it involves widening, sound walls, lighting, new roadway from about 196th Avenue all the way out to US 27. It involves a couple of either low-level bridges or culverts, designer's choice, and a few more things. The Miramar Parkway typical section is going to be a 2-lane typical section, and the rest of the area along Pembroke Road will be a 4-lane typical section. If you go to the next slide, Savika, it'll show you the project area, just so that you guys have an idea. This project is going to be broken down into 3 separate design segments because we will be letting these projects out separately for construction. So you see segment A in red, that's the widening portion for existing Pembroke Road. Segment B is in yellow, that's the new roadway area, and segment C is in blue, which is the new 2-lane typical section along Miramar Parkway to extend Miramar Parkway north to meet Pembroke Road. So that's project number 1. Project number 2, and this slide just shows certain design components that will be required. So widening, traffic signals, sound walls, landscaping and irrigation, lighting if warranted, buffered bike lanes, sidewalks, noise walls, and of course signing and pavement markings as well. Go ahead to the next slide. The next projects that we have coming out for you, this one is anticipated to be advertised in spring of next year. This is the bus shelter improvement projects. This does not have an estimated CVE goal, but even though we don't have a CVE goal that's been assigned by the county, we do encourage all of our CVE firms to go ahead and go after this project, because that obviously won't preclude you from project pursuit. So this project is also a design component project. It's the design of 13 permanent bus shelters at various locations throughout the city. So go ahead, if you're a CVE firm, don't be afraid to throw your name in the hat for this one. Project estimate is $144,000. And next slide. And then the third project that we have coming up for you guys is anticipated to let in summer of 2022. So that's summer of next year. It's got a price tag of approximately $250,000. This one also does not have a CVE goal, but like I said, don't let that dissuade you. If you're a CVE firm, go ahead and throw your name in the hat. This one, it will be a buffered bike lane from Palm Avenue to Douglas Road. It'll involve the design of buffered bike lanes both on the north and the south sides of Pembroke Road. So it'll involve milling, resurfacing, striping, signage, and similar contract items. So, and with that, I think we have the next slide. Yeah, there we go. If you guys need to contact me or our procurement officer, Brenda Martin, our phone number and email is up there, and it's also been posted in the chat. So we encourage you guys to participate. And our procurement platform is Demand Star. So if you haven't signed up for that, go ahead and sign up, and you'll be able to get all the lettings that we're advertising within the city. Okay.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Leah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And we're speeding right along. We really want to just share the information with you guys. So next up, we have the town of Southwest Ranches, and we're going to hear directly from Vanessa.
Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for coming to this presentation, and for Savika and Sandy for setting it up. Southwest Ranches is a small town, well, big land-wise. We have approximately 13 square miles in Southwest Broward, with only 7,000 residents. So as Glenn was saying, every city has different requirements, and you know, most times our residents are really involved in the projects we're doing. So today, our first slide shows you most of our projects are managed by Emily or Rod Lay. You would always, if you win a bid or are included, you would get to meet them. How you would do business with our town, we do use the Demand Star platform, which is free to vendors to upload all our bids Plus, we use our Southwest Ranches /procurement. So it's nice and easy to find and see, to advertise not only our bids, but any local quotes or anything that we need that requires competition. We post it online. I'm including that you have to, because I haven't heard any mention of the MOU, but I am finding that the new E-Verify seems to be a big deal, and we have had vendors with really good bids, but if you don't submit the E-Verify, we cannot accept a bid from you. Then one other thing that we like to do is we upload our bids as Adobe PDF files, and a lot of small vendors download them and manually complete them. So I just thought I'd encourage you to look for the purple fill and sign button, which is a feature of Adobe that allows you to click and type in your responses, which makes your bid easy to read and it makes it clearer. And then you can also sign on that bid that you're submitting to Demand Star or even if it's BidSync. All Adobes have that. So next slide. Now, these are the projects that we have. Unfortunately, they opened yesterday, as Sandy said. So our first one here, you can see, had a project estimate of $750,000, and our CBE goal was 35%. And it was mainly for construction, sidewalk, landscaping, striping. It was proposing a roadway surfacing of 3.2 miles. We have already opened this bid, and I'm noticing that a lot of the primary bidders have used 2 or 3 CBE vendors in order to meet that 35%. So that's encouraging. Next slide, please, Savik. There we go. And the second one was for 1.2 million, also opened yesterday, and the same thing. It had a 40% CBE goal, and for similar work, 3.1 miles of roadway. And then, thank you. And then recently, we did award a bid for drainage, Southwest 50th Street and 182nd Street, and we had 15 responses, which is exciting. And we awarded the contract to RG Underground Engineering, who submitted the lowest responsive and responsible bid. So that just gives you an idea that we are working, and this is a great program, and I really hope you are encouraged to participate. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Vanessa, for sharing that. And, you know, you brought up a really good point. It's not that the fact that, you know, these bids may be open, they're not open yet, or they have been already awarded. You know, this is an opportunity for our firms to know these are the type of projects that are happening. And, you know, they've come up once, and just like Glenn said, a lot of the projects that are happening right now in Broward County, even in different municipalities, they're very similar in the sense of the types of scopes or the types of firms that are needed for them. So this is your heads up notice, you know, just to get ready for these types of bids. Let's keep it moving, and let's go to the city of Tamarack. We have Keith joining us. So Keith, you can take it away.
Thank you. I'm still mute. Can you? Yeah, there we go. I was couldn't get unmuted. Good morning, everybody. I'm glad you're here, and thank you for joining us this morning. Like many of the other cities involved, we do have some projects as well. We don't have any of them on the street yet, but we are working with the county attorneys to diligently get those various projects out for you. And I want to give you some information about us. The contact information for us, Rhonda Kaplan is our senior procurement specialist. She'll be working on a number of the procurement construction projects, and her email is shown here in the file, rhonda.kaplan, K-A-P-L-A-N @tamarack.org, as well as myself. I'm Keith.Glatz @tamarack.org. Now, our municipal procurement platform, we have an electronic platform as well. It's a little bit different than the counties. Ours is on a platform known as Bids and Tenders. We also back up to Demand Star. If you go into Demand Star, it will take you to our bids and tenders platform. I'm wondering, can everybody hear me? It looks like I'm muted here.
Hey, Keith. No, we can hear you.
Okay. I didn't see my video and I didn't see.
No worries. We're on the first project, the multimodal transportation.
Right. Well, I wanted to go back, if I could, very quickly to our platform bids and tenders. You can access everything with us by going to www.tamarack.org/bids. That will take you to the registration portal, and we need everybody to be registered in order to receive the bids. If you're not registered, you won't be able to receive them because everything is required to be submitted electronically in our system. And when you go into the system, you can bid for free, but you do have to do a couple of little small tasks to do that. There's a section in the registration where it asks you what agencies you want to bid on, and you have the opportunity to deselect all agencies. I would suggest that if you do that and then you scroll down to the city of Tamarack, click us. And since we have another Broward County agency, the city of Parkland, on the portal as well, I'd recommend you go down and click on the city of Parkland as well. So you will then receive all of our invitations for the areas that you indicate interest in. So again, that's www.tamarack.org/bids. And go on to the first project then. And our first project is actually a planning project. It's a multimodal transportation connectivity master plan. It's worth about $120,000. And we expect to be advertising that the first and second quarter of FY22. And it's the development of a physical multimodal transportation connectivity plan for the entire city, which considers opportunities to improve our multimodal operations on all of our major thoroughfares. So that is one for professional services. Now, again, you notice there is a 0% goal on that. We still strongly encourage CBE, SBE, and DBE firms to bid on this project as well. Okay, the next slide. We've got our Northwest 70th Avenue traffic calming project, which is basically construction of roundabouts and what we call parabolic speed humps on various areas on 70th Avenue between McNabb Road and 77th in Tamarack. And the estimated value of that is $528,903. And we have a 40% goal on that. And our project manager for that is Christopher Lyle, and his email information is included on that slide as well. And this is, we hope to have this out fairly quickly, but again, we're looking at either the first or second quarter of FY22, which starts tomorrow for us. Go ahead. Next slide.
Yes, I've switched it. We're at Pine Island.
Okay, there we are. All right. Pine Island Bicycle Safety and Connectivity Planning Study right now. Again, that's pending any anticipated project advertisement goal. We don't know when that's going to come on. It's going to be about $135,000. And again, it's a planning study to determine the feasibility of additional bike paths, improve bus stops and connectivity with the Broward County Transit Network, with the ultimate goal of then issuing a contract for design and construction of these changes between Pine Island Road from 79th to McNabb and McNabb Road from Pine Island to 94th Avenue. Let's go on to our next one. Preemption emergency vehicle signal system traffic control devices at our fire station 15. That's going to be the construction of a preemptive traffic signal at one of our fire stations. And the cost on that is estimated to be $445,817. We have a 30% goal on that particular project. And again, we expect to be advertising that either the first or second quarter of our FY22 which starts tomorrow. And then finally, we have a maintenance project. It's our Mainlands of Tamarack Sections 1 to 5 pavement replacement project. $2,849,720 to be advertised in the first or second quarter of our fiscal year 22. And we have a 40% goal on that. Our project manager is a gentleman by the name of Alan Lamb, and his email address is shown on there. And basically it's repaving, resurfacing various streets within our Mainlands of Tamarack section here in the city, which is, I believe, off of Commercial Boulevard. And you can see the specifics down below. So I want to thank you. Our E-Procurement Portal is shown, www.tamarack.org. And I don't know if she's placed it in, but we also have a lot of this information repeated on our website in our anticipated procurement opportunities section. So you can see a lot of this information and get more detailed information on when we plan to actually be releasing the individual solicitations by going to that website as well. So thank you. I want to encourage all of you to register. If you're not a CBE, register to become a CBE. And we look forward to doing business with you. And one final thing that I think may be of interest to CBE vendors, Tamarack actually has a preference for CBE vendors of 2.5% in price. If you are within 2.5% of the lowest bid, you would then be given an opportunity to provide a best and final offer. And if you're able to come at a price of less than greater than 1% under the lowest bid, you would then be able to win the contract. So I want to thank you all, and that's all we have to say from Tamarack today.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Keith. With that, I want to remind everyone, this is the time where you have to get engaged. You know, opportunities like today, it's really your chance to put you in a position where you can ask your questions. You can find out more about the process. Sandy mentioned the program, the process, the people. You know, this is giving you that opportunity to find out more about all of those areas. So attending those pre-bid meetings, Vanessa mentioned the 2 projects for Southwest Ranches. There was pre-bid meetings for those yesterday. So if you're connected with our office, we definitely try to share all of this information to give you the heads up. Hey, a project is coming out. This is when the pre-bid is, whether or not it's a mandatory pre-bid. But I want to encourage you, anytime you see a pre-bid, you want to go there. You want to be able to network with those contractors, those prime contractors, and other CBE firms as well. We also want you to seek technical assistance. And I mentioned this earlier, that technical assistance could include anything from how to become certified with our office, how to bid on projects, and how to navigate BidSync, now called Periscope. So a part of that getting engaged is also staying engaged. And I provided these links today just to show you how you can stay engaged, because you may not be getting our emails. You may not be getting that communication from us. So visit our website. It is recently updated. It looks real nice and fresh. So go check it out. We have links to our events there, how to get certified, everything you need to know, including what Sandy mentioned, our CBE, the County Business Enterprise Directory. So once you're a certified firm, your firm gets listed in that directory, and firms then can look at you, look in this directory to get you working on their project as well. In addition to that, we have, as I mentioned, our newsletter. This comes out, our Business Assistance Weekly newsletter, every Wednesday. So you should have received our newsletter yesterday. Sign up. I'm going to give you the contact information, or just shoot me an email, and I'll be sure you're registered for that as well. It gives you from hot bids to things that are happening in Broward and projects coming out, and also just connects you with everything that's happening in Broward County for the week. Our social media handles, I'm going to show it to you in a second, but we're on Facebook. We're streaming today on YouTube. So thank you for that. Our Instagram or IG account, be sure to follow us so you don't get left out. And lastly, what I want to mention before we jump into our Q&A is our Map Broward dashboard. So you heard directly from our cities today about a few of the projects that are happening or coming out, but you may not see your city on here and you want to know what's happening. The Map Broward dashboard is awesome. And I want to share it with you. If you're going to go, you're going to see that website on the top right side. It says mapbroward.broward.org. And you're going to then click halfway down the page, you're going to see projects in your city. That's where you're going to click to see and access the dashboard to get that update on all projects happening. Once you click on it, this is what you're going to see. In the top right, you're going to see Surtax projects near me. You can type in your address. If you want some more assistance on how to use the dashboard, give me a call. Or you can also click on that instructions tab, which is in the top right tab, which says instructions. On the left side, you see the projects near me. The Surtex project overview is a great tab as well because it's giving you the scopes of work and the details. So if I wanted to see in my city what is happening and what projects, and we showed you a list and a chart of all of the projects that have been reviewed, well, what you can do is click on your city and it'll highlight it for you. It'll tell you all of the projects happening in your city. It's going to give you a project description. It's going to give you a project location and really give you all of those details you want to know. We also have contacts established throughout all of our cities where you can reach out to them to find out more information on these projects. And with that, I want to tell you all, put your questions. We're going to answer them right now. If you're not able to type your questions in our Q&A section, we do have a little bit of time. So I'm going to allow you to raise your hand if you would like to ask your question aloud. And before we get to that, I got a favor. I have a 10-second poll. Literally, you can do this in 10 seconds. Please fill it out for us. It's anonymous too, right? We want your honest feedback. We want to know what we're doing, how we can do it better, and are we providing programs and services to you that are helpful? So with that, Sandy, I'm going to turn it over to you, and we're going to jump right into our questions.
Okay, so you can queue up the questions, you and Vanetta, but I'm going to take one of them that I answered as I typed the answer, but it's good for the entire group to know. Someone was asking about, and I'll use some of the other words, reciprocity. And I'll go back to what Keith said. Hey, if I'm a certified vendor already with the county, does the cities automatically accept that? So the typed answer was not all cities. Not all cities have a local preference for certified or small businesses. Not all cities have a small business program, but some cities, Keith gave the example, they acknowledge certified small businesses with Broward and in their regular procurement. If you're a certified small business with Broward, as he mentioned, there are some advantages to the procurement competitive process that they'll look at some of your bids based on a percentage. I think he mentioned 2.5% within the lowest bid. So that's a city who's taking advantage of the county certification program for small business and has tied that to what they do with their own procurement. But something else Keith said is important that I also made a part of the answer when I responded to the question. Even if the city does acknowledge that, Keith also mentioned, you may still need to register with the city, especially if the city's bid platform is not the same. If the city's bid platform is not the same as Broward, then the only way you're going to know about the city bids, the only way you're going to be able to take a look at and respond to the city bids is through the platforms they use. So that's why we're also saying, no matter what, check with the individual cities, even on our website. Savika and the team has already done this. We contacted every city to make sure we know who the contact person is for procurement, but just as important, what bid platform every city is using, because that's key. So yes to that question. Some cities may accept our certifications and within their own procurement even afford some advantages because you are Broward certified. But no matter what, most cities, you may still have to register with the city. And if not register, at least register on the bid platform they use. Remember, you only got access to a bid and you can only respond to a bid with the platform that's used by that city. Savika or Vanetta, how about any questions for me or any of the other panelists who presented today?
Thanks, Andy. The first question we have is from Maria. How can we get the information on subcontracting opportunities?
So one way you can get the information on subcontracting opportunities, and I also heard Keith mention this, and other cities may be similar. He has a link where you can go to information in advance about potential procurement. You get subcontracting opportunities from us, similar to what I heard a few other cities mention. My Wednesday newsletter, we tell you which projects we reviewed from the county as well as the cities. We tell you what goal we're setting. Asterisk. When you hear us say we're setting a goal, that means we work with the county agency and or the cities, and we've identified subcontracting opportunities. Now you want to read the scope of services for that project. That's one way to do it. Certainly, when the bid comes out, it's certainly going to speak to the bid and it's going to speak to a subcontracting opportunity. That's what the buzzword goal means. But my thing is, I always tell our folks, if the first time you hear about a bid is when the bid comes on the street, that means you're not paying attention to all the other resources we have for you in advance. So you can learn more about subcontracting opportunities, and as a global footprint, inclusive of Surtax and MAP, at my upcoming contracting opportunities meeting on October the 8th. I do this once a year. Glenn mentioned it earlier. Most cities and the county, we're getting ready to go into our new fiscal year, officially tomorrow, October 1st. And I normally try to make sure within the first week, I do a contracting opportunities meeting. That means I bring in aviation, I bring in port, I bring in construction management division, I bring in facilities, I bring in parks, I bring in all the major county agencies for procurement, including the purchasing department. And we share the projects that are coming up for 2022 and beyond. And as a part of my agency sharing that information, we also include for the projects they describe, what are the subcontracting opportunities? So again, that workshop we're going to do on October the 8th can show you my Wednesday night newsletter. It's not just a newsletter about Broward County projects. We have a link to every one of the cities in Broward and their procurement division. So we also share information about their procurement. If those cities even tell us something special about a procurement, like Southwest Ranches, they did that a few weeks ago. We post and push that information. You find out about subcontracting opportunities based on understanding in advance what major projects or contracts the city or the county are looking to do, and we identify what those sub opportunities are. So one quick way is that Wednesday newsletter Savika just told you about. We always have a section called Hot Tips, and it's strictly about subcontracting opportunities.
Thanks, Andy. The next few questions all relate, I think, to certification. So a few would like to know if they don't have a Broward County tax receipt. Number one, if they can still have a business here and open a business. In regards to their business license, a separate question was whether or not a home-based business can get certified.
So the answer is Broward wants you to be a registered business for at least a year. Short answer, home-based, yes. But home-based must understand if you are legitimately a home-based business, that means the city are you in, the city that your business is in has to also accept your business as home-based. What's my best example? I have cities who do not allow home-based businesses for construction. See, it's just not going to happen. I have some cities who allow home-based business when the business says I'm a general contractor, a GC, because they understand the disciplines of a GC. He's not going to have a whole bunch of brick and mortar. He's not going to have a lot of electrical and mechanical and plumbing. He's a GC with a license, and when he wins a contract, he goes find all those companies. So first of all, for home-based businesses, We will accept you getting certified with Broward as a home-based business, but you must have that city business license tax receipt. When it comes
and I think Sandy may have froze there. We're going to continue on to the next question, and I think this one is for Fort Lauderdale. Fort Lauderdale, we have a question for you. This one is from Maria. We have seen bids that ask to have 3 references of contracts with cities, but then if that is a condition to obtain a contract, how can a new company have an opportunity? So either Glenn or Gail, if you guys could respond to that, or is that, do we need some more clarification on that one?
Yeah, can we get the more clarification on that? Especially on the prerequisite.
So Maria, you're definitely welcome as well to raise your hand and we'll unmute you, or you can put some additional information in the Q&A just to clarify that question.
I think what she's asking is that they have no experience working with cities. So if we don't, if we always need references, how are they ever going to get a chance?
And I think that's where it's coming from right there.
So
obviously, I think that that those are references that no matter whether it's the city of Fort Lauderdale or any other city, that speaks to the side of responsibility and making sure that the vendor is a responsible vendor, meaning that they do have the experience, the staffing, the financing to perform the work. So obviously, if the work that's been specified or scoped out, if they've done work in the private sector or even in the public sector, as long as it's very similar and we are able to obtain that you do have the prerequisite experience, I think that should be good enough. However, I do think that it's much easier for staffing, regardless of what city you work for, to contact a reference and to almost speak the same language. But that strikes the chord of responsibility. And more often than not, we are looking at perhaps similar experience in the complexity and nature and size of scope of the project. And so it will be easier if it's, if there's public experience versus private, but it does not negate that we cannot entertain, experience with the private sector.
Awesome. Thank you, Glenn. Maria, hopefully that answers your question. You have been provided with that ability to speak if it hasn't. And reminding our audience today, you can definitely raise your hand if you'd like to ask your question aloud as well. We're going to go to the next question. Welcome back, Sandy. And we're also going to have you answer this one. So Derek wants to know, do I have to be registered to become a vendor?
So I'm going to finish that last one before y'all kicked me off, Zoom. You kicked me off. You got to have a city business license tax receipt, even as a home-based business, but you also need a Broward County business license tax receipt. Don't fret. If you don't have one, they're in my building. You can get one any day you need as a part of my certification process. But yes, to get certified, you need a business license tax receipt from the county, and you need one from the individual city.
So what if a business has been here in Broward for many years and never got one?
I'm cutting Savika off on purpose. Hear me, because we own it. Thank you for your honesty. When Commissioner Sharif was first mayor, she started Broward Means Business. And that's when we discovered in 2015 that a whole bunch of quality community service businesses been running around the county for a decade to 2 decades and never had a county business license tax receipt. She's ready to put them in front of the commission, give them a proclamation and a plaque, and we realized you never had a business license tax receipt. All we ended up doing, suspending the date for that plaque, send them downstairs to get one. It's okay, and it's not like a shell game. We're going to say gotcha if you never had one. But by statute of the state and the county, you're required to have one. So one day, even if your business is 10 years old, come get your county business license tax receipt, register to be a vendor, and get certified. Are my folks downstairs in record tax and treasury going to ask you to pay back business license tax receipts for 10, 15, and 20 years? I can't speak for them, but I'm going to say no. We just did this with CARES grant. Half the small businesses who wanted some of that CARES grant, you need to show a business license tax receipt. Most went downstairs and just paid the last year and the current year. So check with our business license tax receipt. I don't think no one's going to make you pay for the last 15 years. You never had one, but you do now know officially you need one if you're talking about getting certified. So registering as a vendor or to be registered, do you need? Remember, you can register as a vendor with Broward County through that Periscope right now. And some of these things we're talking about for certification aren't needed. To register as a vendor, you can go online and just register as a vendor. You'll start getting the bids. But to get certified as a small business, I'm going to need more of those devil in the details to show that you're eligible. To get contracts with the cities, to one of the points Glenn was making. They might start really asking the devil in the details about your experience, which is why as a county, we require you to have at least 1 year in business. We're not saying you have to have 20 contracts, but I got to be honest. Even for my startups, I say this during my entrepreneurship courses. County and government procurement isn't for everyone at the beginning. You have to be able as a business to bring something to the table. So if you got a whole lot of private activity that you can then demonstrate, that's a way to get into a government or a public door. If you got other public activity, but you will have to pay attention. There's a difference between vendor registering, getting certified, and responding responsibly to a bid. That's something else we share with you in our workshops. 3 different things, but all you need to eventually participate in the process.
Thank you, Sandy. And I think that answers a couple more, actually. A few might have missed Sandy mentioning that BidSync Periscope, you can register for free in order to get those bids. So just reminding you, there's no fee to that. So if there is a fee, probably clicking on the wrong button. So reach out to me, reach out to our office. We can help guide you through that. The other part is Allison wants to know, how can we put our name, how can we put our business name in your certified firm directory?
Oh, you can put your business name in my certified firm directory by getting certified. You must, and
remember, it's online.
Right, you must be a certified CBE or SBE, DBE or ACDBE to get into our directory. That's just the listing, because you know, as the county does its procurement and it puts its solicitations out, to tell all prime contractors when that solicitation or that project has a goal, you must use small businesses. It's a way for the prime contractors to look at a directory to determine who's in Sandy's directory, because I got to use 1, 2, 3, or 4 of these to reach the goal. You only go in my directory if you are a certified firm in one of our programs. And
with that, if you are a certified firm and you don't see your name in our directory, that's something you definitely want to reach out to me about. Go look up, if you're a certified firm, go look up your own business in our directory and make sure that all of your NAICS codes, everything, your description, it accurately reflects what you do. Because again, firms are using that information, typing in industry codes to try to find you. So you want to make sure that it's accurately reflecting what you do and the services you provide. I think we're good with questions. Audience, if you have any more, feel free to raise your hand, throw it in. We have a couple minutes left, and I'll throw it to you, Sandy, for any closing remarks.
Yep. So my closing remarks really starts with thanking the cities, thanking Fort Lauderdale, thanking Southwest Ranches, thanking Miramar, thanking Tamarack, and thanking our other cities who have come before them, Davie and some of the others who have presented. Folks, this is our chance for 27 plus years to find opportunities to support, additional opportunities to support small business. Each of these cities and the others, their administrative teams and those responsible have signed interlocal agreements. We all have the definitions and defined what infrastructure projects are all about. We all recognize that through the procurement process that each city is afforded and allowed to use their process They're working with the county to make sure that the projects are not only eligible, but it's going to be offered in a manner that includes small business. So at the end of the day, we're really trying to say, in addition to thanking these cities, if I'm a small business, it's not too late to start truly connecting the dots. You heard several of the cities present today that some of their projects won't be going out till spring of next year, first or second quarter of the new fiscal year. Yes, it officially starts tomorrow, but you know how quarters go: October, November, December, January, February, March. You still have time to get information about those projects. You still have time to register with those cities and their platforms. You still have time to register to be a Broward County vendor. And definitely, on behalf of the cities and the county, if we're talking about MAP, you must be a certified CBE. So I don't want to get it wrong. Some of you are businesses. Actually, I looked at some of the names. Some of you are prime contractors on this call, and welcome, and that's a great thing. You can't get certified. You might be outside of my criteria. But yes, you still will be bidding on these city and county projects. So if you're on this call and you're prime, we're just reminding you in advance, when you read some of these projects, they're going to have a goal commitment. That means you need to meet some of my CBEs or be familiar with my directory full of CBEs. So CBEs, that's why it's important for you or eligible businesses to get certified as CBEs. It's important for you to follow the steps. Again, Glenn said it the best. This is information overload. We get it. We have a responsibility to still give it to you, but we know it's overload. So on behalf of the cities as well as our office, please reach out to us and use the contact names and numbers. We will get in touch with every single person who gets in touch with us and answer any questions. Our job is to navigate you through the process and then prepare you to have information where you can compete for these opportunities. It's for naught. These are my closing comments. It's for naught. Surtax is for naught if small businesses in Broward County aren't making money. Folks, this is about making money at the end of the day. I'm unapologetic about saying that. The county's going to collect through the Surtax, the short side of $17 billion over 30 years. They're going to spend that and more because they're going to leverage it with some federal funds over 30 years. And we don't think small businesses in this county should be a part of that. No, that's wrong. We as a county, the commission and the oversight board for MAP believes that the county small businesses should be a part. So we are going to work with the cities to make sure we all do our part. But as a small business, you have to get in the game. As a qualified small business, you have to do your homework to take advantage of these bids. As a business who deserves to scale up, grow, and win contracts, you really do got to dot your I's, cross your T's, and be about the game. We're here to help you with that. So again, I want to thank the presenters from the cities. Thank you for your commitment to not only your city, but to small businesses across Broward. And again, for the listening audience, we can stay here for 3 hours and you can still have questions. Challenge us. Follow up with the cities as well as my office. Get all your questions answered. And the reason why you saw on one of those earlier slides, we're showing names. We want to make sure you know that small businesses are winning these contracts and there's more to be won. So with that, I'm through, Savita, unless you have any other questions.
Thank you, Sandy. I'm going to squeeze one more question out of you real quick because this one we missed. If you're certified as a disability veteran-owned business minority-owned business with the state, does that transfer over to OESBD?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't transfer over to OESBD and no other community or county in the state. Again, state certifications are great. Remember, I do have a federal program, DBE, that if you fit that minority and that woman, socially and economically disadvantaged, that works. But service veteran disabled, woman-owned business, MBE, MWBEs, those don't fit. They're welcomed, but those acronyms are not set aside in our local program. You have to be a CBE. And again, that's no more than being a business in Broward for 1 year, personal net worth 1.32 million or less, not counting the primary cost of your home and your gross receipts if you're in construction, 9 million or less over 3 years. All other industries, 5 million or less over 3 years. If that's you, even with the acronyms you gave us, if you fit in this box, you need an official CBE certification, not the others that you register with the state.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Sandy. And for our audience today, I know this question came up a lot. A lot of you are trying to save the chat and having difficulty doing that. What I'll do is I'll save the chat and I'll send it up to you guys. So if you've registered today, you gave me your email address. If you want it at a different email address, you'll see my contact information. I'm going to put it in the chat. Send me an email if you want it to go somewhere else. But if you registered today, I'm going to share the chat with you. And if you need anything else, we're going to share the slides with you, the link to the recording. But again, this is the start of the conversation, so reach out to me. And thank you again to our cities, our audience. Have a great one all.